are now rocking with Raw Radio. Raw Radio. The one thing you can't live without. With your hosts, Raphael, Amy D, and DJ OGGO.
Unscripted free spirits, I'm glad y'all can join us, and I hope this cold, chilly week has been full of love, fulfillment, productivity, and I want to build on that with y'all today. Raw Unscripted Radio, you're going to hear Amy D and I, all other artists of all genres discuss the one most important thing that could have stopped them, one thing that helped them rise, and one thing that's going to keep them evolving. So this is Raw Unscripted Radio, about to inspire, and we are about to be. So clap it up, clap it up, clap it up.
As you snap.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Come on.
I do it every week. Amy D, go ahead and introduce.
Here's Amanda Probert.
All right, let's bring it to the stage. Coming to the stage. And just the glasses alone, it's like, what she got to say? Because anybody who can pull them glasses off is just off the chain. So we're going to unmute Amanda and, hey, give your elevator pitch. Give the world a little bit about you to Raw Unscripted Radio.
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, these glasses actually glow in the dark too. So
nice.
Unfortunately,
so
can't
you.
see that right now, but thanks. I'm my name's Amanda. I live in Chicago in the unceded territories of the Potawatomi, and I am an artist. I'm a disabled artist. I'm queer. I'm trans. I'm obsessed with fungi. And I'm obsessed with foraging and mycology and plants in general.
And I think I've learned so much about mushrooms just following you on social media. It's actually eye-opening.
Wow. So my introduction was
mushrooms.
terrible. I like your introduction to yourself way better.
Like,
So much. It's so more
it,
interesting.
But I could never step up and meet to that. So
Yeah.
sometimes you just got to let somebody roll with themselves.
I saw your face. You're like, let me just leave it to
I
her.
will not do her justice.
So sweet. So, you said a lot. So we're excited to like dive in because at this point we got a lot of stuff going on just in the world, in Chicago alone. I just saw my block, my city, my hood. I forgot his name from
Jamal.
there. And Hyde Park, Jamal from Hyde Park was talking about all kind of nonsense going on. So we want to talk about the good, the bad, the controversial, all that, because artists, that's what we do. We build on the controversial and we make it beautiful. So,
And real.
yeah, and real. So the first thing we're going to ask you is our first conversation starter. We always like to start with something juicy just to get the blood flowing. So Amy, do you want to go ahead and turn it over?
If you had one magical power to change anything in Chicago, what would it be and how would you do it?
So I've been thinking about that question since you asked me to be on here, and it's a loaded question because there's like a lot of things in Chicago that we want to change, right? And I think first of all, I would start with just like recognizing that Chicago is a Native city, and it's also a Black city. The first non-Native to be in Chicago, to come to Chicago, was John Baptiste Point de Sable.
Yep.
I don't speak French, so excuse me for that. But
You did way better than I ever could.
yeah, and I think that a lot of people who live here don't know that. So like just knowing that like at its heart, like Chicago is a Native city and it's a Black city is like really important. And I think that we don't give enough to those communities, and we really should be returning money, rebuilding communities, defunding some of the money or giving some of the money that's going to police to those communities so that they can rebuild themselves and stuff.
Yeah, there's been several stories where I read about grocery stores just disappearing. And I saw in your neighborhood specifically, the Aldi that was there. She went to the store one day and everything was boarded up and there's no grocery stores just in her local area.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard because people without cars and disabilities trying to get on public transportation to like groceries around, especially come the winter, it's unfair. I mean, when you look at, neighborhoods like this, or you look at neighborhoods like the downtown, there's 5-6 grocery stores in a 3-block period.
Yeah. And then we're talking about produce prices going up and logistic prices. So this morning, one of the analyst on I think it was NBC, CBS, Good Morning,
Yeah.
I don't know, some news station. She was like, well, everybody's making more money, so it should cancel itself out. We shouldn't be hit that hard by, things increasing. And I was like, really? Like, I just felt like it was super insensitive. Like, yeah, macro, okay, I don't know. Like, I just didn't agree. And like you said, there's so much that is not seen but felt. And I think we, with the magic power, I think a lot of the money, the funding going to, like you said, some of those places that don't have it. I just want to get the speed cameras eliminated. Like, I mean,
yeah.
See, I know we talking about this serious stuff, but if I had magic power, every time I'm cruising and I'm listening to music, Amy D and I rolling, getting inspired, the speed camera always get me. And she ain't got, so her license is from Pennsylvania. So she'll never get hit with them speed cameras, but I had to get kind of, take it not so serious. But I love what attention you're trying to bring. But what are you involved in to impact that? Because I'm always curious. Like, it's a magic power if we had it to eliminate speed cameras with a point of the finger, and also to make money, come out of nowhere. But what do you do specifically to impact some of these things that you want to see happen?
Yeah, I'm not particularly involved with any one group per se, but like I try to kind of know what's going on in my neighborhood. You mentioned the speed cameras, and there's a campaign right now to stop spot shutter, I think it's called.
Yep.
And that is the cameras that basically survey neighborhoods. And so I get involved with different things like that. A lot of stuff online, like I put in testimonies when there's stuff that are going in front of the city hall and stuff like that. And I also just try to raise awareness with, it's not like I have a huge following or anything, but I think that raising awareness for things like that to people who aren't aware that those are things that exist in the city, because they don't have to worry about it. But there are a lot of people who do have to worry about that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
sure.
And they're talking a lot about federal intervention at this point in certain neighborhoods. Like I was saying, Hyde Park with all the shootings going on, to invest in mental health, like you said, a lot of police funding, like it's just crazy. And I don't know, but you also mentioned like not having a big following. So we were watching a not Travis Scott, but Kid Cudi documentary on Amazon. So you be amazed, Amanda, at the people that watch you when you don't know. Kid Cudi, when he first came out, he met Day and Night was popping, right? Day and Night was everywhere. The big club song, that was my college, like get drunk, song or whatever. But Kid Cudi, you saw some of his early videos when that song was popping, like huge. It was like 13 people in the audience, and he was going hard, like going ham, just like it was. So you never know. So keep doing what you're doing, because even the couple topics you brought up and just your energy, your vibe, we're going to get into some of your music pretty soon. Like, you can inspire. It can be one person, 10 people, 100 people. You never know. We're going to get you somewhere where you can impact some more people live too, because we got a show we do every so often. So we'll talk about that. But
you know what though? It's funny that you mentioned about what was the last thing you said?
Kid Cudi?
Oh yeah. What was the last thing? What was the last thing?
Speed cameras.
No. Oh my God! It was here.
Audience.
It was gone. Oh yes, the audience. That's it.
Yep. I'm on it.
I'm such a scroll sometimes, like my brain's gone. But I was watching this thing on Instagram today, and it was this photographer, and he's like, my model stepped away from me because I didn't have that big of a following, and she refused to come out. And he sat and he figured out how to take pictures of himself, and he put himself in the background. He had 15,000 views, and it was pretty much people saying like, F you to this woman because she just downgraded him, like, oh, you're nobody, you're not good enough, you don't meet the status quo. And at the end of the day, how do you start? You never start in life at the top with 20,000 followers or being able to influence people. You have to start small and build and grow and get trust and do it in a positive way. So I mean, that warmed my heart today. So
yeah, man, you got me going now. Like, and we're gonna get into some of your music shortly, but I knew a photographer, Mike Ho, right? He did some of my early edits, and I always talk about this when you talk about following. So Mike Ho, if you follow visual art, like videos, he directs for Chris Brown, he directs for all the Latin artists, he directs for DJ Khaled, Justin Bieber. So I was in the studio or in the a club at a beat battle for like producers, right, in LA. And I saw this, like, you know, this guy just taking pictures guerrilla style, right? Nobody hired him. He's just out shooting the celebrities. And then he would post their pictures and edit them on Instagram and tag them, right? This dude had no following at all. In fact, like when him and I were working together, you know, he was charging me the low for like these amazing edits. Like nobody was following him. And then all of a sudden, God first, he put God first. He worked his ass off. Like a year or two later, this dude's on MTV, BET, videos everywhere. Like his life just like freaking manifested. And I'm sure he didn't even know it was going to be that big. So you never know when people are watching. Like
You don't.
It's crazy. And when people count you out, guess what, Amanda? That's when you keep going hard. So
and I'm not really like, it's not a big concern of mine, like how many followers I have or anything. I agree with everything that you said. And I feel like even if I just influence the immediate people around me and they influence me as well, and we just all are working together to like become better, that's the most important thing. Like whatever number it says on my like Instagram or Facebook or whatever is really unimportant. It's not something I'm going to care about like on my deathbed, right? But the relationships that I build and the things that I do in my life are what's important.
Yeah. So, hey, let's do this. Let's hop into some of your art. You did send us some of your art. It sounded like it was music, poetry, visual art. So kind of break down what we're going to check out now. Give us a little background on what inspired this piece.
I believe, is this the TikTok talk that you're playing?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I didn't do the music for that. But I did make the art for it, and it's a performance piece and installation that I created. It's based on some text by Octavia Butler, who's basically like someone whose words I live by. She's like kind of known as the grandmother of Afrofuturism, and her books are just fantastic. And the phrase that's in the installation is one that comes from her book, Octavia. It's Parables of the Sower, and it's all that you touch, you change. Everything that you change changes you. The only lasting truth is change, and God is change. And that's just a piece from her book. And I really love her words, and I think that her words are very influential, and I like to imagine them in landscapes. So sometimes when I have the opportunity, I will create landscapes with her words. So that's what that piece is.
Nice. I love it.
All right, we're going to go ahead and share it.
So is this you talking to?
Is it the TikTok?
Like the visual, yeah. Like or you said that's not you on the vocals. It's the landscape that's your art, right?
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
The art is what's basically on the grass is what I created.
Got you. Perfect.
Yes.
All right, here we go.
Baby, jag tror du hade mig på de första noterna. Och jag vill gärna ha dig helt närmare. Jag tänker över det jag säger då. Och visst du går så vill jag se ifrån. Och när du säger så vill jag se tillbaka. Jag tänker över det jag säger. Du är ingenting för mig, baby.
And
that is super cool.
Audio. Oh, thanks. The audio is by Smirts. Just wanted to give the name to that.
Nice, sweet.
Yeah, I love it. Was there oranges in there?
Yeah, that was a installation that I did in Southern Illinois. And I basically just used found objects, and in about one day, I just kind of gathered, there were oranges, there were mushrooms, there were bullets, anything that I could find in the vicinity. And I did have some markers, which I don't know if you saw the rock that I did drawing on, but I tried to basically use just objects, and then I did a little bit of drawing on some of the rocks.
That was super cool. Now, do you still sell your artwork?
Absolutely. Yeah, I have an Etsy that I sell it on, and then I'm not currently in any galleries, but I've applied for some and maybe in some shows in the coming months.
Yeah, for sure. So make sure that you send me those links because we'll be happy to post your Etsy links as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we know that, you know, our artists that we interview on Raw Radio, they always have their passions, right? So talk to us. What are your passions? Like what are your causes?
Well, I think I already mentioned one of my passions, which is fungi. I'm obsessed with mushrooms, and I'm currently writing a zine about my relationship to mushrooms. And I have a really complex relationship with mushrooms. I go foraging and find them. I have a really deep connection with them. I have used psychedelic mushrooms, and a lot of people, when you say mushrooms, just automatically assume that you're talking about psychedelic mushrooms. But when I say mushrooms, I actually like mean all of fungi. Those psychedelic mushrooms are a really cool tool, and people should use them if they find them appropriate. But mushrooms kind of created humans, and we basically, well, animals branched off from mushrooms 1.538 billion years ago, I believe. So mushrooms are our relatives, and I think it's just something that's really interesting and something that I like to honor and think about and create art about.
Nice. So it's one of those things where, like you said, you know, when it's appropriate, right? Because I think there's a certain level that our brains are so limited to. So like you said, when you're thinking about the origin of life and existence, that's scary to a lot of people. So I think the fact that you're exploring some of those things that, you know, a lot of people are, you know, they don't understand, I think is super brave, you know. So
It is super brave.
It's super brave. And I think, shoot, I need to take some courage, and, you know, because there's so much life that we don't see, you know, that, you know, I posted something the other day about people have been on the moon, but you have people that have never left their city. And I think that applies to so many things, whether it's the original organism of life or, you know, people being exposed to culture. But I really think it's cool.
I am not brave enough to try mushrooms, but I do applaud you for your bravery.
Right.
I would probably be worried about jumping off the roof and in the hospital or some other crazy.
Yeah,
things.
we already crazy. So
I don't know that I
yeah.
can.
I mean, I think that you probably would find yourself like cuddling a blanket. It's really, a lot of people are like, I'm going to jump in front of a car. I'm like, you're probably going to lay down. But I also just think that about like all mushrooms. Like you mentioned that people are going to the moon. I sometimes when I go out foraging and I just find like some super cool specimen and I'm like looking at it, I think like Jeff Bezos is crazy. Like he wants to go to the moon and he hasn't even seen this mushroom. Like there's so many things like in the forest that are amazing that like we don't like know about, and we want to go to the moon. Like we haven't even explored our Earth yet.
That is so true.
Jeff Bezos. I just think about Kanye West's interview every time you say that. I am peers with Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, whatever he was saying. But anyway, sorry. It's great. That was a kind of cool, and that was kind of a cool interview. But
Amanda, did you see the interview?
No, I haven't.
So watch the Kanye West interview, please, when you get a chance. That's a whole podcast episode just to recap what he said. He's gonna put himself on the stock market for $1 trillion, just him, like as a person, as for $1 trillion. But he was saying some real stuff, and I think you would connect to some of it because it's real. It's not like people live in a box, and like what people really think they don't say. So he says it. Which is pretty cool to see, uncanny. But let me ask you this. We always ask all of our guests the one most important thing that you felt has gotten you to where you are, that makes everything else less important. So when you think about yourself right now in life, artistically, personally, what is the one thing that was most important that got you to where you are today?
I would say that it's my mental health. I have mental health issues, and I have had them. I've had different mental health issues throughout my entire life. And then in the last couple of years, I developed complex PTSD. So it's basically become compounded. And I made art to I didn't know I was doing it, but I made art to like deal with my mental health issues. Art is very therapeutic, and it's really healing. And it's a way for me to work through things that are in my head. And it's also just like the practice of creating and making healing. And yeah, so it's really like my mental health is like, it's difficult for me, but it's also like this thing that's propelled me forward and is also gonna like I have to make artwork for my mental health. It's just like something that is they're intertwined, and I have to keep doing it.
Oh my God. Like I'm feeling you, because I wrote an album called Basket Case, like at one of the hardest times of my life. As it's just crazy. So I agree with you. And I don't think I could have gotten through that as well as I did without journaling and kind of like, putting it to music, because that's the way I create. It was so powerful over the pandemic, going through some transitions relationship wise, my identity as a father, as a man. It's just a lot, so to have that outlet is huge.
Yeah. And like we always talk about, it's not really socially acceptable for men to have issues. It's not acceptable for a man to cry. It's not acceptable for a man to be upset. In society, you're just not a manly man, and you're trash, and you're overly sensitive. And I mean, those are more stigmatisms that add additional stress when you're already stressed, because you're always worried about who's going to judge you and why.
Yeah, I think it's really I'm not I'm not a huge Kanye West fan. I mean, I like his music. He's a great musician, but I don't like follow a lot of stuff that he does. But I think it's really interesting. He has mental health problems. I don't know what they are. But you just, as someone who has mental health problems, I don't think we should be judging people who have them. We should listen to them and support them, and we should be doing that for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. And so I love this. This is awesome. Like, we're being super vulnerable, and that's what it's all about, because other people may need to see that that's normal, and we should be doing that. But we always like to do this too, just to get your values, Amanda, just as a person. And so people that follow you really connect, and, all that good stuff. So how would you rank in a relationship, sex, money, looks, and what's the word? Loyalty. How would you rank those, and why?
Okay, all of those.
Yeah. So sex, money, looks, loyalty.
So we mean like a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Okay, sex,
One being
money,
the best.
looks, loyalty. So loyalty would be first, because it's a relationship. Sex would be second, because that is like your chemistry, your connection. And the other two were looks, and what was the other one?
Money.
I would honestly put money and looks kind of like equal. Like, looks, I mean, yeah, everyone is attracted to certain people, but our looks change throughout our life. We're going to have changes to how we look if we are with someone for, the rest of our lives. And it's important. It's really important for the initial attraction, but it isn't important for the long term. And me is, something I'd like more of, but it's not someone that I've never dated anyone for money. I've considered it, but I have never done it.
Yeah. We were we were watching some show on Netflix called what was this? Crazy Joe or
Dirty Joe.
Dirty Joe. I don't know if you've seen it on Netflix, but
No.
it's this woman who's been through like 4 different marriages, and this dude has money, but he's still psycho. So and then she goes out on all these blind dates with all these psycho dudes with money. So I think money sometimes, like, it's important, but like literally that is like so surface. So
Yeah.
I like your ranking. I agree with your ranking for sure.
It always has to be loyal to your honesty first.
Yeah, I know with you.
Oh yeah.
I like it though. So I want to challenge everybody too before we close out. And thank you, Amanda, for connecting with us today. We love artists of all genres, all backgrounds, and your energy is amazing. So thank you for spending some time with us. We always also like to. I actually just started this week. Shout out of the week, small business. Cold Pizza is a apparel company that I want to shout out. Make sure you guys go look them up. It's one of my buddies I grew up with, Corey. He cuts my hair. We used to dance and do Michael Jackson together when we were little. I had the same babysitter, his aunt, his grandma. But shout out to him, man. Super fashionable dude, God-fearing dude, great innovative apparel company, Cold Pizza.
Is it C-O?
Yeah, COLD
Okay.
Pizza. But it's really cool because people like cold pizza, but the design is super cool.
It is cool. It's so catchy.
It's super catchy. But make sure you guys cop some of that. I have some raw gear, partnered with Black Militia. Basket cases out right now, which is my album on Amazon. And then we got Skyline Vibes that we're going to premiere tonight. It's 3 parts to Skyline Vibes because the sky is beautiful at every part of the day. So this is called Dusk because we're in the night. And I want to shout out Rudy for the mix, Red Young for producing the record, and then we got SE Nightlife and Royalty featured. But yeah, we're gonna close out with that. Hey, one last thing, tip for you guys.
Wait.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Next Friday.
Next Friday. Oh yeah. So, and Amanda, you got to come if you're free. So we do Grateful for Friday at My Buddies, which is a raw radio event where we host. It's an open mic, but it's really premiered to the artists. So they have their own drink specials. Like it's really unique, right? It's their just
It's
them
an
and
outlet.
it's acoustic too.
Yeah.
So it's real intimate. It's not like, ooh, like you can't hear their words. You know, you go to hip hop, R&B, kind of like people are just yelling. So it's very acoustic. It's very chill. It's karaoke afterwards. It's at My Buddies. So it's a Packers bar. Go Pack Go. So we're doing that November 19th, next Friday, 6:30, free wine tasting from 6:30 to 7:15, and then we're doing the music. So speaking of Skyline Vibes, it's a vibe. This is the Dusk version. Amanda, thank you, and we're going to close out with a record from myself. Let it breathe.
Ooh, just like that breeze. All your roots I pay. You don't know what this do for me. The pulse of my soul and my city. Feeling alive right now. I'm feeling alive. Some may say, but I'm rising. Some may set all the way they caprice, the way they squeeze, and you cooked. Have mercy in them sheets, Game of Thrones, in them sheets, savagery, raining tunes. I'm a fool for a freak, elegant and ratchet just for me. Skyline, baby. Oh, this waving makes you wanna groove. Yeah, just like them views that makes you feel some type of way. Skyline Vibes. Take our time and can't get no better. Can't feel much better. Edibles, grilling some rooftop class. For that gram ain't go right, you so bad. Oh, Skyline Vibes. Our escape can't feel much better. Sunset looks better. Feeling alive right now. I'm feeling alive. Our escape don't move too fast. If the vibe is right, we can make it last. Now let's say This waving makes you wanna groove. Yeah, just like them views that makes you feel some type of way. Skyline Vibes. Take our time, can't get no better. Can't feel much better.
Yeah. See, I wonder what you get into. Got me acting out of character when I visit you. Lingerie make you nervous, and I think it's cute that you feel the opposite on beaches in a swimming suit. Remember you, me, we got it cracking that night, and I ain't never tell nobody what happened that night. Don't nobody know a thing how I let my guard down. You can hear my heart pound like thunder and dark clouds, like a storm from around us, bring the sun about you. Ain't saying you need a man, I'm saying you need an alpha. It's your soul, I'ma penetrate. I make the memories of that man disintegrate. So what you think about a dinner date? Chilling on rooftops, I'm feeling like Tupac when taking a few shots. I like seeing your face on my timeline. They talking chemtrails, but I love to see skylines with you.
This waving makes you wanna groove. Yeah, just like them views that makes you feel some type of way. Skyline Vibes. Take our time, can't get no better. Can't feel much better. This waving makes you wanna groove. Yeah, just like them views that makes you feel some type of way. Skyline Vibes. Take our time, can't get no better. Can't feel much better. She my speed, philanthropy. She got me through some hard things. She put in work, just listen to me. Write picture for me, a lot in common. I'm letting go, take control of my body. That excited got me on one.